Thank you, Matthew. Your order has been successfully booked. If you need any further assistance, feel free to ask. Have a great day.
Hey everybody, in this video, I'm going to be deep diving into Vapi and showing you how you can build your very own voice agent. Before we start building, let's just go over what Vapi is and why they exist. Vapi is an orchestrator of the transcriber, the model, and the voice. So in this example here, if a customer were to call your company, Vapi would take this input here, transcribe it from speech to text with a provider like Deepgram. They would send it over to a model like OpenAI, where they would reason and craft a response based off of the input. OpenAI would then send the text to a voice provider like 11 Labs, where they would transform the text back to speech, send it over to Vapi, back to the customer, all in real time, simulating a real conversation. Next, let's just go over the types of voice agents we can make in Vapi. So the first we have is inbound, where a customer will call in to your company. This use case is great for things like inbound Q&A, booking appointments, or customer service. The next type of voice agents we have are outbound, where your company will call out to a customer. This use case is great for sales calling, qualifying leads, or cold calling. Now that we have a better understanding of Vapi, let's start building our own voice agent. For this example, I'm going to be building an inbound agent for a bakery shop that can take orders off a menu and send them off into a database. What you're going to want to do here is create a Vapi account, click on Create Assistant, name your assistant whatever you want, press blank template, then Create Assistant. To build a good assistant that does what we want, it all lies in the quality of our prompt. A high quality prompt equals a high performing assistant, while a poor quality prompt equals a poor performing assistant. Below here, I have the ideal prompt structure you would want to have when building your own voice agent. So the first thing we have is the role. So what role do we want to give our agent? We have the task. What task do we want our agent to complete for us? The specifics. What are the specific actions that we want to take from the task? We have the context. Giving our agent context to what environment it's in helps improve the performance. We have the steps. So what steps should it take? The examples. Here we can give our agent example conversations to kind of mimic how we want it to speak. And finally, we have notes. Just final notes that we have for our agent to reinforce good behavior. So here's my final prompt for my Bob's Bakery order taker. Here I have given my agent a role. I'm saying you are Sam, an exceptional assistant at Bob's Bakery, managing order taking with precision and ease. I've purposely assigned Sam an advantageous role and emphasized her key qualities with managing order taking with precision and ease. I've done this because it has been proven with research that assigning your agent to an advantageous role will help increase their performance and accuracy. So next here, I've given Sam its task, which is to help users take orders and answer questions for the users. Here we can see that I've said this task is vital to Bob's success and he deeply values your attention to detail. So what I have done here is added emotional stimuli to my prompt, which has been proven to increase performance and reliability. For the specific details, I've basically instructed it to follow the order taking steps, to take the customer's order, and to reference his menu, to answer pricing questions, or to take the customer's order. For context, I've said Bob's Bakery is a local family-run bakery. You are now on a call with a customer. Here, I've just outlined the menu for my agent to reference. Down below are the order taking steps. So just ask the customer what they would like to order, confirm it back to them, then gather their name, book the order, wrap up the conversation politely, and offer any additional assistance. Here, I've outlined some example conversations for my agent to follow. And for final notes, I've just said again, you're on a call with the user. Make sure to be friendly and clear. Now, if you're wondering what all these hashtags and stars mean, this is just markdown formatting, which is the format that's easiest for our agents to read. This is because OpenAI themselves, they write their prompts in markdown formatting. So to just show you how AI would interpret it, I would head to something like markdown to HTML, copy and paste it here. And now we can see that what we see here is completely different than what our agent would interpret. All these different hashtags are just different header sizes, and then these stars are just things that you would like to bold out for your agent that you think is important. Now, if you're wondering how is our agent going to book our customer's order, where is it going to book it to? That's where tools and make.com will come in. So tools is just something that we can give our agents that will supercharge them, and make.com is the automation platform that will support our tools. So to create our booking order tool, let's head over to tools. I'm going to create a new tool, select make.com. For now, we'll just leave the server URL empty. We'll come back to that. Click on next. Our first property is going to be name, the name of our customer. Save that. Our next property will be our order, the order of our customer. And for this one, we'll set it to an array. So an array is just if you order like 1 muffin, 1 coffee, 2 brownies, it'll just list it in an array, while our name will just be a singular string. We'll click next. For our tool name, let's call it book order. And for the description, I'll just say books the order of our customer. So now when I create it, this tool will be customly integrated into our agent, so it'll know when to use the tool that we have created for it. Now let's head over to make.com, the automations platform that we'll use to connect our tools and to Vapi to run our automations in the background. We'll click create a new scenario here. One of the great benefits of Make is that it's connected to tons of different applications to communicate to for different purposes. The automations that we can build are endless, but for now, we'll just be uploading our order into a Google Sheets database. Here is our Google Sheets database for our orders. We have the name here and our order. This is obviously very simple, but for more complex and custom use cases, we would add more information. So the first module we're going to create here is a webhook. Here it says triggers when webhook receives data. So this is basically how Vapi and Make will talk to each other and send real-time information to each other. Under webhook, we'll choose a hook. We'll just add a hook and name it Bob's Bakery. Save it. Now here we see that we have an HTTPS link. So we're gonna copy that address to our clipboard, head back to Vapi, and then paste that server URL into the server URL section, hit save. So now Vapi and Make, they have the URL to talk to each other. Our next module that we'll create next is our Google Sheets database. So I'm gonna select Google Sheets here. Here we can see all the functionalities that Make has integrated with Google Sheets, but the one that we are going to select is add a row. So when the customer calls, we will add a row, which will be their name and their order. Up here, you're going to have to sign in with your Google account, but after that, we'll select My Drive, Spreadsheet ID, we'll select Bob's Bakery order, the one that I created before, Sheet 1, and now we have access to our name and order that we can upload the dynamic information into. Now let's create our dynamic name and order variables. So here we're gonna select name. I'm gonna start it with 2 curly brackets, write number 2, period, to represent number 2 here for the webhook. And then I'm gonna write message dot tool calls, open bracket, close bracket, dot function dot arguments dot name, close bracket. Now we have our first one. Our next one will do the same thing, but for order. So 2 dot message dot tool calls, open bracket, close bracket, dot function dot arguments dot order, close bracket. So now we see here we have our 2 properties of name and order. So when our Vapi assistant collects the name and the order. It will upload it dynamically into this text field, which will be uploaded dynamically into our name and order section of our Google Sheet. An easier way of uploading these dynamic variables is to just go here, hit tool calls, function, arguments, name, and then order as well. But when you're first building out your workflow automation, you're going to have to do it manually, but moving forward, you can just select from this tab down here. Our last module that we're going to create to complete our workflow is another webhook, but this time it'll be a webhook response. So this will be sending data back to Vapi, letting our agent know that our tool call was successful. So in our body here, if we just go to the documentation, this is the format that Vapi would want your tool call result to be. So we'll just copy it here, paste it, and then for tool call ID, instead of X, we'll write to.message.toolcalls.id, and then for result we can just say something like the order was successfully booked. So this will let our agent know that when we upload the live data of our name and order through our tool, we'll get a tool call result saying the order was successfully booked. Now that we've finished automating our tools with Make, we're just going to have to do a few more things before our agent's ready to go. First, we're going to have to go to phone numbers, and now we're going to have to either buy a number from Vapi or import a number from Twilio or Vonage. Once we import a number, we'll select our assistant. So I'll select my Bob's Bakery order taker. So now my assistant will sit on this number and automatically pick up whenever a customer calls. Then finally, let's add the finishing touches to our assistant. Feel free to play around with these settings to see what you like the most. For the first message, this will be the greeting message. I'm just going to have it say, "Hello, this is Sam. How may I help you?" For my model, I'm going to change it to 4O cluster. 4O cluster is better at reasoning and giving more thoughtful answers. For transcriber, I'm just going to change it to Nova 2 phone call. Voice, I'm going to change it to 11 Labs to Maya. Model will be Turbo V2. Background sound, I like it at Office. Background denoising enabled to filter out background noise. Functions, we got to remember to add our book order tool. And then for advanced, I'm just going to leave everything here as is. But this is obviously stuff that you can play around with the start speaking plan and the stop speaking plan to determine what's a fluid conversation for your agent. And then the last thing before we call our agent, make sure to go to scenarios, scheduling to on, so that this webhook will always be running. And now let's call it.
This is Sam from Bob's Bakery. How may I help you?
Hi, I had a few questions about your food menu.
Of course. I'd be happy to help with any questions you have about our menu. What would you like to know?
How much are your chocolate chip cookies?
Our chocolate chip cookies are $2 each. Would you like to place an order?
Yeah, I'd like to get 2 croissants.
Got it. That's 2 croissants. Is there anything else you'd like to add to your order?
Yeah, 1 coffee and 1 tea.
All right, that's 2 croissants, 1 coffee, and 1 tea. Can I get your name for the order?
Yeah, it's Matthew.
Give me a moment. Thank you, Matthew. Your order has been successfully booked. If you need any further assistance, feel free to ask. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you very much. So that's it for this video. Obviously that was just a very basic and foundational framework for building a voice agent. Hopefully you can see that we have the potential to build for more advanced logic and more practical use cases. that would integrate with whatever applications you use, but this basic setup just gives you the building blocks to start exploring those opportunities. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe.